everyone. My name is Joy Machuku. I'm a volunteer at Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo and Grace Foundation. I'm a senior proposal specialist, and welcome to the very first edition of Volunteers in Conversation podcast. And I'm not here alone to dive into this topic. We have amazing minds that have joined here, who are also volunteers of this great team, and will be introducing themselves. So over to you. Can we know you?
Thank you, Joy. You're welcome. Hello, viewers. My name is Marshall Onome Michael. I'm a volunteer with Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo and Grace Foundation. I'm a safety and fire preventive officer. Thank you, Joy.
Nice to meet you, Marshall. Over to you.
Thank you, Joy. Hello, viewers. My name is Onye Williams Motola, a sociologist, event management specialist, and I'm a volunteer at Dr. Kenneth and Grace Foundation. Thank you.
Good to hear that. So today we'll be diving into a very important topic that affects children worldwide. And today's topic is titled Child Labor and its Impact in Our Community. This is one of the very important goals of the foundation. We are looking at eradicating child labor, as we know that child labor, some of these decisions that happens, or some of the things that happen to these children are not from their own free will. It happens due to circumstances. So we're going to be answering the questions: how did we get here? What happened? And what can we do as individuals or as a community to make this change? This foundation was founded in honor of Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo and Grace Okilagwe. To know more about the foundation, do well to check our social media handle that will be inscribed down below. As we know that the foundation honorees Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo and Grace Okilagwe had their touch base on education, child labor, and poverty, eradicating poverty. So I would like to know, what standpoint made you join this team? Over to you.
Growing up, I would ask, and I would be asked that, what would you like to be in the future? You know, I watched the program when I was very young. I mean, at my teenage age, at something around 8 to 10 years, and someone mentioned philanthropy. And I felt philanthropy was a kind of occupation, right? I checked the dictionary, there was no Google at that time, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with Google, so to say. So I checked the dictionary and I found out what philanthropy is and all that. And that's what got me to the academic sector of, I'm a BSc holder in sociology. And that's when got me to, trying to know more about social cause, social community service and the likes, and giving back to the society. Right, and then what inspired me to join Dr. Kenneth, shuffling through Instagram, I found out about Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo reaching out for volunteers and all that, and I checked the aims and objectives of the foundation, and yes, I was inspired because it talked about child labor, right, and child labor is one thing that, first you need to understand what child labor is. It's a situation, a layman understand, it's a situation where a child is being forced to do things that are, that are not of their age, they are more than their age, that's harmful to their health and their own psychological effects, so having said all these things, a child of today is the future of tomorrow, right? So in all these things encompasses why I volunteered to be one of them.
That's really amazing to hear, and it's also very exciting to hear that one's personal experience can actually bring about the need to join a particular community, and that's what inspired me from what you have said. So can we hear, over to you, what inspired you to join the foundation?
Thank you very much, Joy. What inspired me to join the foundation is that when I was in the military then, so I was posted in northern part of Nigeria. So I saw how people, especially family, parents, children, are suffering in the north. And military job is just like a charity work.
Yeah, true.
So, but if you don't really know much about the military job, is fighting war. It's not only fighting war.
Yes.
We care about the need. We help the poor. We help the less privileged also. We work with so many organizations, Red Cross and the rest of them like that. So then I have this passion for helping people. So there are so many IDP camps in the north. So we see the way they take care of people. So then when I came back to Lagos, I discovered with some of my friends that me, if I have the opportunity to work with some NGOs, I would like to work with them. Show my passion, humanity, and money is not everything, but the little help you can help the poor, the less privileged, it can go a long way. So one day I was just scrolling down my phone, so I saw the advert, Dr. Grace, Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo Foundation. They said they were looking for volunteers, so I tendered my application. So I've even forgotten, so I've submitted so many applications. So that day I was like, they just sent me a message, I think they called me that please, is this Mr. Marshall? And I said yes. See, this is for Kenneth Oyaribo Foundation. And I said wow. They say so they asked me some questions. So they say now fix an interview, which we did online. I think it was phone conversation. So my major
Inspiration.
That inspired me more. Being in the north, I saw the way children are suffering. Most of them don't have families. They don't have nobody to take care of them. So if you were to be in the north, you will understand what I'm saying more. So that was one of my major reasons. I said, no, let me give back to the society.
Well, for me, that's very, very, very thoughtful. You know, when you get to see documentaries of the northern region, you see that a lot of things, how children suffer, and this reinforces the aim of the foundation, which is to trying to eradicate poverty. And what would you say are the prevailing factors that drive child labor? And for me, you know, there are so many factors that could bring about child labor.
Yeah.
Some of these things we've had a conversation at the foundation during their onboarding session where they spoke about reasons. I want us to throw more light to people that do not know about this. We are already informed, right? But we want people to have a broader view of why people go into volunteering, why they should join Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo and Grace Foundation. So tell us more, throw more light on the reasons why this happened.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joey. I think one of the reasons about this child labor is poverty. And I can give myself as an example that I was once like that. You know, growing up, things were very hard for me and my family. So in the morning, I will hawk kerosene in the morning. No, I will hawk fish roll in the morning. In the evening, I will hawk kerosene. So we're like trying to see what we can gather. So it got to a stage, I called my mom. I said, so some of my colleagues in school, they will be insulting me that you know go score those kind of things. So one day I called my mom. I said, Mom, I want to stop all this kind of hawking of thing. So, and the major factor is poverty, the society, and people around.
Yeah.
So you understand. So, and I think the government has a very big role to play when it comes to child labor.
Thank you so much. You've spoken beautifully. Let's hear from you. What do you have to say about this?
Okay, I will subscribe to what Masha said.
Yes.
You know, poverty. Poverty is the major element. You know, when there's no food on the table, they see child labor or children working as necessity, not as an option. You know, you see, it's now not like would the family go hungry or the child goes to work, right? So they see it more like a necessity that you have to do it, you know, because this poverty are setting. You know, like what Masha said, coming from my own experience, right? When I lost my dad at the year 2008, right? And then not like we're okay per se as a family. I mean, we could have the 2 square meal in a day conveniently, right? But then influence, another thing is influence, right? Because I was working with my friends, and my friends would be like, oh, you know, I remember one particular time in December, I wanted to buy a shoe. There's one shoe that was raining at that time. I'm a fashion person. Wow. There's one shoe that was raining at that time. Tom's was raining at that time. You know, these days there are different colors, red, blue, and the likes. And so my friend told me, guy, you need to there's this business and all that. And let's do this. I opt for all throughout the month of December. I work at Ojuelegba, Idumota, just because I want to, you know, gather out for this thing.
And how old were you at that time?
I think I was my teenage age. I was my teenage age. We're looking at 16, 17, thereabouts. But Yeah, but then influence, and people see these things. Another thing is people see these things as norms. They see it as something that is normal. They see it as something that is normal in the society. So when they see children walking, they just like, oh, it's normal. So they see it as normal. Another thing we look at is cultural value. People see child labor as cultural thing, like a cultural norms. Things that are like, oh, you need to do this thing, you need to be this kind of person before you be this kind of person, and like. So these are kind of prevailing factors. Another thing I would subscribe from what Masha said was government. When we have weak enforcement of law to support child, all these things are prevailing factors that I would say affecting child labor.
Yeah, you've spoken beautifully. I think for me, the part I feel like is a driving factor that touches me most time is the weak policy that the government has set in place.
Yeah.
And that's where the Dr. Kenneth Iraibo and Grace Foundation comes in. We are a strong believer, and we know that the team is a strong believer of weak policies. We're fighting against weak policies that put children in spots where they are not supposed to be. Right? So for me, that's like the major touch point for me. Something you said really caught my attention, right? When you spoke about poverty, and that's like it touched down base for me. So I'm trying to ask, do you think that poverty, did it come from a place that the parents did not love their children, or they didn't like them so much, or just negligence on their part to send them to child labor? What's your take on that?
Okay, when you talk about parental care, and child labor, there are two different coins.
Oh,
there are two different sides of a coin.
Okay.
Right? Child labor has nothing to do with parental care. As like I said earlier, norms, cultural norms. Do you know the parents can love the child to an extent that you just said, go and hug. Because they are trying to grow the child. They're trying to grow that child to become somebody. They feel like if they send this child to hawking or child labor, right? They feel like they are trying to grow that child. They are trying to develop that child, and which is not, right? So most times these parents love these children. They love their kids. They love their children. But because of circumstances like poverty, like I said, it's now become a necessity. It's not like their parents have to go in hunger or the children have to opt. So they have to choose. It's not kind of a choice thing, an optional thing.
Yes.
Right?
From my own view, I think education is like the major problem for me, right? And that's where I think the foundation strikes that balance. And I think that's why when you check the goals of the foundation, what do? They touch base with the families, right? So not only do we educate, the children, we also go back to say, okay, where is this problem coming from? What do we ensure? What do we do? How can we help in a way that the parents do not have to make such heartbreaking decision sending their kids to school, right? And that's where the foundation goes back as far as helping your family, empowering those families, and then putting them their feet on the ground so you don't have to make such decisions. So for me, I think that education cannot be overemphasized. So what's your take on that? Do you think education is like a major factor that is increasing the level at which child labor is increasing in Lagos or in the country as a general?
Okay, yeah. For me, right, there's this general saying, right, especially when it comes about this Gen Z thing. They say education na scam. School na scam. Yeah, that word, school na scam. But no, right? When you talk about education is not just the four walls of a classroom.
Exactly.
Right? Education starts from the home. Right? Education starts from the home. So, but then when you talk about the basic education, when you talk about the primary school, the secondary school, and all that, all these things gives you room. It gives you a leverage, and it gives you another kind of leverage ahead of your peers. Let me give you an instance. While I was coming for this podcast, I passed through where I used to stay. I was born and bred in Agokota, right? So I passed through that as it's while coming to this podcast. So I met a friend of mine, right? Rather my childhood friend. Some of my childhood friends he didn't go to school. He did not go to school. I think he dropped out from JS3 thereabouts, right? We used to play ball together on the street and all that. But look at me now. There are some contacts. There are some level of knowledge that I've had. I mean, he was even the one that recognized me, like coming from afar. Because then I used to dance. Called me, how dance daddy. I mean, he's not the kind of person he is that he used to be supposed to be. I mean, looking at our interaction, is not the kind of person that he's supposed to be at that level. But because the education did not give him, because he didn't have access to education. It didn't give him that kind of opportunity. It didn't give him that kind of leverage that he's supposed to be. I mean, of course, we are not in the same class. Reason because of my own exposure and because of my access to education. So I believe that education is one of the key factors, right, that gives child, it eradicates child labor. Because at that time, even the child, right, when the child gets access to education, the child also knows his own right. That no, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Because like I said, when you are in school, even when the teachers gives they're supposed to have a curriculum or a subject, maybe social study, right, that talks about child labor. So at that time, even the children, the child or the kid knows that, oh no, I'm not supposed to be doing this. And when you get home, you can educate the mother to, like, Mom, I'm not supposed to be walking. I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm not supposed to be doing that. So I believe education is a very key factor. Thank you.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, education is one of the key factors, because if you look most of these parents nowadays, if you ask them why is your children not going to school, they'll say no money. You understand? Some, at least if you look at our government school, some of them, the only thing you can pay, maybe you can pay little, not like private school. So I think that education is one of the main factors, because if some of them are educated, and even the parents need to be educated too.
That's very true.
Because some parents, if you tell them that why is your children not going to school, you will say, what is he going to do in the school? That school is waste of money. I don't have money to waste on him. So after he doesn't know anything, if he goes to school, come at the end of the day, he will fail. So instead of me to be wasting my money on him, let him go and start one work. So
sorry. Let me say this. I got down to Lagos this morning around 4 a.m. Wow. So I was going my way. I passed through Ibadan to Akure. So on my way, some boys joined our bus, right? Some technical students in Ibadan. So I'll say this, right? But like I said, education is not just about book and pen. The four walls of right? You need to have this knowledge. There's this knowledge that you need to be imparted on, right? And sometimes skills and acquisition, like I said, those children, right, they go to technical school. There's a technical school in I think somewhere in Ikotun Egbe. There's a technical school. They learn painting, what's it called, technical skills and all that. So you don't have to, like I said, education, you don't have to even know how to write per se. Like you don't have to, no, you need to know how to write, sorry, but you don't have to have all these things that has to do with education, like writing of,
I think you're trying to say that we should give them the opportunity to try, right? To learn and try. You can actually, you can empower, you can teach a child without giving them the opportunity to fly.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you're coming from, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think I think that's like what you're referring to.
Yes. So you can also learn. You can learn other skills. You can learn skills and acquisition. These things also gives you a room for opportunity. There are some people that they don't know anything about. They don't like going to school, right? They don't like education, but they have. Do you know there are people who are gurus of tech? Some people are artists. They can draw. They can paint. But then what you just need to do is pull them out and put them in that sector. There are some people that they love to read. They are lakam lapo, right? But there are some set of people that they don't want to. They just want to do the action part, not the theory. They want to be practical about everything. So you just drive them out. So all these things it still encompasses under education.
Education.
Right.
I think we've been able to establish that education does not just end at the four walls
Yeah.
of the school or the university or the tertiary institution. So when we give them the opportunity to thrive, we will not find them on the streets. And that's why we're trying to, the foundation is trying to enlighten people on the goal, one of the goals, major goals, eradicate child labor. It cannot be over. I keep saying this. So now I also want to ask one quick question. When you see people on the road, they tell you that I do not like people, I do not care about people that experience child labor. It's their fault. They caused it. They should have done better. They should have done this. I don't know if you've heard people say that. But when you see people, okay, one of my colleagues we were coming back from work and we had children come to the window and they were tapping the glass. And he was like, I'm not even going to attend to this people. Leave them alone, you know. So for me, I think we spoke about it and I was like, it's not even their fault. They don't even know why they're here. They're just following a mandate to go and get money, you know. So they were able to enlighten. So for people who do not know about this, do you think they don't care about them outrightly? They don't have empathy towards them? Or it just come from a different place? What's your take on that?
Okay, it's not that they don't have empathy on them.
Okay.
Because if you look, some parents, now I'm this kind of person that goes out around based on my nature of my job. There was a day I was going out, a guy just walked up to me. He said, bros, please, I'm hungry. I've not eaten since morning. Please, I ordered to just buy food for me. And I looked at him, I said, how old are you? He said he's 15. I said, what of your parents? My parents, she's at home. What of your dad? He went to work. I said, why are you begging? Did your mom send you to go and beg?
Yeah.
He said, no. You're supposed to be in school. And I don't have money for my school fees. I said, but your dad is working. So what I'm trying to say, if you see some of those children too, some is not their parents.
Okay.
Some, they are just like, they want to do it.
It's inherent in them.
Yes, we still need to work on them. We still need to educate them, you know, especially the parents too.
Yeah, so for me, my take on that is that sometimes I think we're trying to enlighten people that in as much as a situation does not affect you, or because you've not experienced that situation, do not downplay that situation, or don't make them look like their reasons are invalid. So if you've not experienced it, you might not know how it feels like to be in their shoes, you know. And because they do not have options, sometimes they are left with the opinion that this is the last resort. So we should not, as individuals, downplay whatever anybody does or whatever situation they find themselves. So that's like a major take home I think everyone that's listening should take back home. So I also want to ask, so as volunteers, what do you think, how does your role in the volunteering team support the fight against child labor?
Okay, very quickly, right, Joy, I'd like to contribute to the previous question about empathy, right? You know, sometimes, right, it's not about, like I said, it's not about the empathy. It's not about the empathy. The empathy comes in as a result of personal or individual feelings. You just feel like, an availability. Let me just do this. And sometimes you just want to, let me just do it. Sometimes you can just do it for spiritual reasons. Some people just want to be, if I give it to this child now, something might come to me, right? But it's not about the empathy. Sometimes it's about the norms. Something that we are all used to. We're all used to this child labor thing. You know, you can't go from a bus stop to a bus stop and not see a child hawking. You can't go from a bus stop to a bus stop without seeing a child asking for money to eat. So you see those things every day. It's not part of you. So you not feel like it's normal. And you know, another thing is they feel, you know, there's this saying that now everybody will struggle. Now everybody they struggle, rather, not everybody. Now everybody they struggle. So you feel like because I've done it, and some people feel like because I've done it. For Masha now, if you like, for someone like Masha, if he's, I mean, in this kind of situation now, you'll be like, when me too, I did this age, I hawk too.
Yes, I did it too.
I did it too. When I was like you, I did this thing too. When I was like you know, something like that. So all these things are things that, you know, cultural value and values that are coming over time, generational norms. That's the word. Generational norms, things that they now feel like is a normal thing over time. You know, for instance, now I've made up my mind. Even as my child from 17 years below, if I for instance, when I was growing up, right, at my teenage age, my dad would ask me to go and wash his car. But I've made up my mind that my own child will not, because I'm educated. Right? Not like my dad is not educated, but he didn't see it as, he saw it as a norm. I would press my dad's clothes. It gives me knowledge about how to press clothes. My dad would send me some work. At my teenage age, I would go from Agod to his areas to go and get things in the house. As young as because things like that affect the child mentally. It affects their development, right? So all these things put together, I feel it's just the norms, because people see it as normal, things that are normal, right? So it's not about the empathy. Right, thank you. So over to your question. Okay. Sorry, I missed that.
So I asked, what's your current role in the volunteering team? How does it impact the eradication of child labor?
Oh yeah, of course. Just as we are doing, just what we are doing right now, educating the public.
Exactly.
Educating the public, because there are people that needs to know about these things. We need to bring it to them forehand, like first hand rather. We need to interact with them. We can't just leave everything to the government. And thank you to the honoraries and the trustees of Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo and Grace Foundation. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you to all volunteers. Right? The roles cannot be overemphasized. The roles of these volunteers. I mean, sometimes in December we did reach out and we gave out food to 100 families.
In Festac, right?
In Festac, 100 families. I mean, their children, their kids went home with some gifts, items like educational items. There are 2 kids who won bicycle. I mean, things like that. These are things that the NGOs or the foundations does, and this contribution, right? This contribution gives a room for improvement, gives a room for economical improvement, right? Because the government cannot do everything.
Exactly.
Right? The government cannot do everything. And another thing I would emphasize on is the education part, right? And another thing is identifying these things, recognizing them, because sometimes they might not even see it as a child labor. They might not see these things as child labor. Even as an educated person, when you say child labor, they feel like just hawking is child labor. No. Sometimes the kind of work you give to your child, domestic work, you can't expect a child who is supposed to be playing, because that's at that time they are supposed to be doing. They're supposed to
like their developmental stage, right?
Their developmental stage, exactly. Right? So a child that's supposed to be in school, you are asking the child to stay in the market for you. A child that's supposed to play, you are asking the child to go and cut grass. I mean, a 7-year-old boy cutting grass, that is child labor. So all these things put together, I feel the volunteers are one key factor, right? They are doing excellently well in making this an achievement. Thank you.
What's your short take on that?
One, we need to create awareness, which is one of the things we are doing now, and give them opportunities to learn 1 or 2 skills. Then education. I think the first event we did at a trade fair was most likely awareness. The guest day stuff we did at trade fair. So we went inside the market, trying to look for all those guests, see some of them hawking inside the hot sun, and if you see load that some of them carry, is more than them.
And it's not just about the work, it's about the survivor.
Yes. So then, and this foundation, they are doing a very great job. Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo and Grace Foundation. So after that, we went to Festac, the one we did last year, December. So we went to the village, the first Wakpo and Kana village. We saw things, see the way people are living. So it's not good.
I was not present, but I saw videos and it was very emotional for me.
So even at the end of the day, saw some parents, the way they are living is not easy. We know that place where they were living, it was okay before the government came and destroyed it. So there are so many things, and we need more NGOs. We need more NGOs, not government. I know government out of 100%, government can be able to do maybe like 50%.
No, I think you mean to say we need more volunteers.
Volunteers and
Because
NGOs.
you can have NGOs and there are no volunteers.
You know what I'm trying to say?
There are a lot of NGOs.
Sorry, NGOs, NGOs. Wait, sorry, NGOs past NGOs. There are some NGOs, you see them, they are just there to make money for themselves.
Exactly.
I know many. I've worked with two. I don't want to mention names.
Wow.
They are just there to make money for themselves. They have sponsors.
But let me say this. Do you know that you can have one NGO and several volunteers? You can have one NGO in the country and different volunteers in each state, each community, and they are performing very well. So it's not about the NGO, it's about the volunteers.
Wait, I know, because if you say we have so many NGOs, volunteers are people who work with them.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So if the head is not good, the, how did they say, the tail will be affected. So if you see some NGOs, they have sponsors who donate money, that they will say, okay, we need so thing, we want to reach out to so family, they will give them the money. At the end of the day, you will not hear anything.
Exactly.
I don't want to mention names. I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that's why I said NGOs past NGOs.
Yeah.
You know, when I came to this foundation, I know what they are doing.
Experienced,
A lot. Do
you know the special part about this? It gives you bragging rights.
Yes.
You get it right.
Yeah.
So
Even the day
imagine
we went to that village, that community,
Yeah.
when they saw us, only our outfit alone gone, it put crowd.
can you imagine?
Yeah, people were like, come here, this is they gave us table with fit
And
form. At
it's
the end of the
privately
day,
funded.
yes.
Privately funded, not
Yeah.
by any
After the whole thing, there was a day where after our meeting, I think the first meeting we did this year. So Madam Julius was like, they were getting a lot of feedbacks from those family. You know, they appreciate what they did for them. So it's not easy.
Let me contribute this.
So,
About this private funding thing, that was one of the highlights for me. You know, when we had one of the Zoom meetings, and then we were introduced to some of the trustees. I mean, it got me more interested. Let me now bust your bubbles.
please bust it.
Okay, I'm a coordinator. I'm the creative director for Face of Role Model Nigeria. It's a beauty pageant. However, we came for one foundation, one of the programs, and when we were going back, when I got home, I got a message from the coordinator. Hello, Williams, how are you? I hope you're home safe and all that. I said yes, ma'am. He said, please kindly send us your. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but yes, I will. So then she said, okay, please give us the cost of your
logistics.
Logistics. Yes.
That's from this foundation, right?
How many
From this
foundations
foundation.
do that?
So I'm not like no. I told her that I know the money is small. He said no. And that time I think I stay around somewhere around the Jegun.
Okay.
And the place is around where we had the meeting was around Igondo Azix, there about around Igondo. So from that place to my place is about 1,800 to 2,000 Nigeria, about 2 and 4. I'm like, no, this money is small. He said no. Please send your account for it. I'm like, So that was one of the areas I was like, no.
I think I experienced that too. There's a time we went for the World Volunteers Day, and for me, I feel like you're volunteering, you should also be able to contribute. So they make you understand that you do
contribution is not financial; it's your commitment, your passion.
And that's the drive for me.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot be over. You cannot even thank the founders, the trustees enough, because they do so much, and we are saying thank you to them for that opportunity to be of service. It's we love what we do, and that's why we are here today to make that, exactly. Yes. Yeah. So and it's still a reach out to other NGOs. So what's your take on NGOs who are also doing stuffs that we do, the same role that we play, but maybe not in a large scale or smaller scale? What's your encouragement or your words of admonition to them?
Okay.
Let's go with you.
Okay, so talking about NGOs and government. All right, the government, I feel the government should just do is just provide these basic social amenities. free access to education, good road, family support. I mean, that cannot be overemphasized. Family support. There are some mechanisms that are supposed to be put in place for family support, right? Then these NGOs are just, they are there, not just, sorry, the NGOs are there to assist, you know, to make this thing work. You know, they make these things work. For instance, if the government, right, puts in place education, now this education thing that they are putting in place is have the structure, the building, right? Have the teachers there, have the chairs and all these things there. When the NGOs will now come in, it's okay, this child cannot afford notebook. This child cannot afford school fees. No, they don't pay school fees in government schools, but registration fee. They have registration fee, right? Attended government school. So these children cannot, they cannot afford education. What's it called? School fees, notebook, pen. You know, these are where the government, the NGOs cannot come in. Not like the NGOs will not be the ones to bring the school. No, it doesn't work that way. Another thing is the NGOs cannot come. The NGOs have, they cannot come in a way that they, you know, they help the family, and that's one thing the foundation is doing. Thank you to Dr. Kenneth Onyaribo and Grace Foundation. I mean, I witnessed with one family, and one of the volunteers had identified a girl who was walking, a little child. I mean, I think they were siblings. They were walking, and one of the volunteers had identified them, and they went to their family and all that. So the foundation went to visit the family with food items and the likes. Went home with food items, a lot of food items. I mean, a whole lot of food items.
The beneficiaries?
The beneficiaries, with a whole lot of items. So the volunteers went there to visit the family and all that. And they placed the family on, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this.
Monthly stipends?
Yes, a monthly stipend.
I think I saw that. I was not in that meeting, but I think I saw that.
It's on social media. It's on our social media platform. You can go to our Instagram or our YouTube. It's over there. I mean, it's a thumbs up here. We're doing exceedingly, and thank you to our founder. And you know, these are things that the foundation can also do.
I feel like you have so much passion for this thing. You can't wait to see every child out of the streets. 100. Let's hear your own take about this.
Although he has like what he said, you know, this child labor of 18 is a very big sickness we all have to face, to fight, not only for the government, even we individually, NGOs.
Yeah.
You know, we have so many NGOs in Nigeria, and some of them are not doing what they need to do. I know of a school in Ojoye. An NGO went there. They want to give the schools some textbook and some other things, you know. The principal said they should bring everything to our office, and they say no, ma, we want to give it to the students. At least they want to do video crates. No, the principal said no, they should come and submit it to the office, that she will give it to them. No. Do you know what the principal did? She collected everything and started selling it to them.
No, that's very bad.
So, and if you are doing all those kind of things, you need to follow up, checkmate. Exactly. Make sure that if they don't want to do all those things, you are there. No, we need to give them by ourselves. If it's 100 students, if it's 200 students, make sure the thing go round. So you understand?
This also caused my attention to something the foundation did. You know, when something I liked about them, I joined another. I'm in a foundation, right? But something that stands out for this particular foundation for me is this. So when I joined, you know, they were talking about, there was this woman that had a child, a girl child.
Yeah.
Yes, that they were supporting. So something stood out for me there. The foundation does not just give you help and leave you stranded.
No.
Yes.
Because they know you do not have knowledge on how to grow your wealth. Because if you know it, you will not be on the street.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they groom you. They do not leave you stranded. You have to have, like, I think they do. I don't know if it's quarterly, but they have audits. I know they have a team that is set aside for auditing and doing follow-up checks for me. So when you spoke about policies, I think the government should also raise policies that ground parents should not, people that commit child labor, parents or children, policies that keep them in check. That's basically. And for NGOs too, when you are found wanting, there's also a policy that would keep you. Because these NGOs just do whatever they like, you know. So if you don't have a checkmate, if you don't have anybody checkmating you, you might actually just do what you like because you want to post yourself on social media without having the ground roots being sorted out. So I think what you spoke there really makes a lot of sense and gives the foundation spotlight, you know.
Yeah.
It's something I can attest to anytime, any day, right? Because the woman there, I know the time they proposed a business plan to her and she didn't want to do that. You know, you do not know how to generate wealth. We're teaching you how to do it, and you now have a decision on the kind of. So you see that sometimes education becomes a barrier.
Yeah.
This is why we say education becomes a barrier. So we teach you and we groom you basically. So that's where I feel like the foundation is striking that balance. So for me, I think we have touched base with most of the questions and have enlightened a lot of people. The late Obafemi Awolowo once said, "The children of the poor you fail to help train will never let your children have peace." That's a very strong phrase. What do you think about that?
Yes.
The children of the poor you fail to help train will never let your children have peace. In 1 minute or few seconds, can I hear your take on that?
You know what Awolowo was saying there was, it's just very simple, very simple.
Short and simple.
Very simple. Now I want to give instance. I mean, there are people who you grow up with, your age mate. You see your age mate on the street, right? There are people you grow up with, and then what do you think? People who rob, people who do pocket picking. People who do criminal things, like serious things. What do you think where do you think they started from? They all learned this orientation from the streets.
Okay. So what does it quote? What does it mean to you?
It means that we need to watch out for one another.
Okay.
Every child is your child. Everyone is your loved one. You need to help everybody. In as much as you cannot help everybody, but people around you, I mean, like I said, every child is your child. Because the person you fail to help today would come back haunting you.
Exactly.
Or haunt your child.
It
Must. It's a must though.
Yeah.
So you need to, I mean.
Let's hear from Marshall.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joy. First of all, that's what he said, sir. The phrase means to me, this fight is for everybody. It's not one person fight. Now, I'll give you some example about myself. I'm a product of child labor. Now, when my mom was sick, there was no money to take care of her. So, she wanted to travel to the village. So, no money. She said, Onome, that is my native name. He said, I want to go to the village. And I can't live here in Lagos, but there's somebody I want you to go and stay with. Now, it's a very sad story. So the woman needed money. My mom needed money to travel back to Delta State.
Okay.
So this lady said, Madam, I know if you give you money, then give me your pikin. Then when you reach village, if you send my money, then I will send your son. Guess how much is the money? 500 naira. The things were still good in Nigeria. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, no problem. Collect the money. I went to stay with this woman. So when you talk about, so then I was staying with this woman. Things were going worse. I wake up in the morning. You know, I started eating full bread when I finished my secondary school. Do you know what I eat? Crumbs. So the woman will buy bread, she will peel the back of the bread. We'll say, okay, take. Wow. So I don't want to go into details, but my experience there, if anybody go through that thing now, I don't think that child will survive. Now, they used to say a proverb in my place that now one person they born picking, but now plenty people they train now. Yeah. You get me? So when you talk about this Awolowo phrase, you see some people. See, if I tell you my experience, I've stayed with criminals. I've stayed with armed robber, ritual killers. But doesn't make me a bad person. So one of the reasons I joined the military, when I lost everything, my mom died, everything. So some of my friends, I was like, I don't have family. So the only place I can let me just join the military, I'll make family from there. At least I'll see people I will talk to. That was one of the reason I joined military before they now moved me down to North. That one is another ball game entirely.
You know, saying that if you have not joined the military, I mean, you would have become a bad person.
I will not see. Everything is your mindset.
I think it's a personal conviction.
Mindset.
Yes. Actually.
Okay, now when I was staying after everything, finished school, struggle on my own, I was staying with some of my friends then. Two of them, armed robber. You understand? We're staying together. They will go and rob. He doesn't rob. But now today the guy is dead. Wow. Elvis. So one day I call him and say, Elvis, this is what you do. Very soon they will catch you. So me, everything is your mindset.
Not sure. I think he's saying that your mindset actually like guides.
Yes.
What you're saying, you are the 1% of the 100 that survive this.
There are so many people like that.
No, I'm just saying you are one of the 1%. The many 99% won't, and they will haunt us.
Exactly.
Yes, now.
So I think this.
So you survived it because God just see you through. You survived it because of your personality, maybe because of your upbringing.
I think that's another perspective.
So the 99% will go through these things and become they'll be influenced by those robbers and become a robber like them too. And before you know, you could even go back and hunt that woman that took you out.
Let me tell you something. Williams, let me tell you something. Williams,
one of the 1%. I'm also one of the 1% because I could have been influenced by cultism. Cultism was reigning in I got them before.
If you want to see, let me tell you something. See, if you want to see, what I want to tell you that you see this military of 18 has really opened my mind. You understand?
Before you joined the military,
even before I joined the military, I'm not this kind of person that I don't move by what I see.
I'm just telling you,
you understand?
You don't get my point. I think you are one of the 1% of the people who survive.
So I think that this, you can see that from this whole presentation, it is not even something we can cover up in one podcast.
Yes.
So I'm going to say, if you want to know more and hear more insight about this, wait for the next podcast. There's so many things we need to tell you that you need to look up for. Do well to follow our social media handles. It's going to be in the description down below. Follow us and expect and anticipate so many things that we need to talk about and why you should join this moving train with Dr. Kenneth Oyaribo and Grace Foundation. Thank you so much and thank you for listening. Bye for now.
So what do you think this means?
Misunderstood.
Oh my God! What do you think this means? Balanced diet. What does this mean? This represents the superhero character.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
I don't mind.
What does this mean? Is it
different strokes?
okay, this?
It don't.
Nobody will get this one.
On the way. Going in circles.